Well, I've got to do it now. I've got to like, make a joke about not mentioning the war, haven't I?
Oh,
How
I'm
could
sorry.
No, don't mention the war.
Don't mention the war. We were just kind of talking about like world events, boring things. You guys don't want to care about that.
Yeah.
War is unlikely to happen. I'm not going to say it won't happen. It's unlikely to happen.
I mean, it's not likely to happen to us. Just correcting that.
Correct.
Just to me.
Yes. For all our brothers and sisters in Ukraine, keep fighting because Lord knows. Yeah. As long as
Lord
that.
knows you're doing a swell job.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Because otherwise I'm next.
I mean, we'd prefer it if Ukraine didn't fall, but that's just you know.
Yes.
Don't worry. We'll just take 2 minutes to say, don't worry, Ukraine. Europe is picking up the strain.
We'd appreciate it if Russia kept in its fucking lane.
There is.
Yeah,
There is one person that I would want to fall off the stairs on the way to the toilet and shit his pants and break his neck.
That's fine. How old is he? He's, what, 8, 17?
Old enough to die of a stroke.
Good.
is all I'm
That's
gonna
what I
say.
like to hear.
I mean, he's been a president for the last 25 years, 26 years.
Oh, yeah, the democratically elected president for life. It's like, oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
I think he's like 18.
Wait, isn't that what US is about to get?
That's what they're trying to get.
I will just say, didn't you say to me, El, like, oh, it will be fine. He will only run for a second term. He'll go away in the end.
Oh no, I said that look, I never said he wouldn't try for a third term, but the Constitution very clearly says in
It does say that. It does say that.
in the 22nd Amendment.
Sorry, drifting. What a discussion for us to drop into.
Because unlike some Americans,
You
I actually
occasionally talk about video games, I swear.
we do occasionally talk about video games, but I want to throw some shade because unlike some Americans, I actually when I'm talking about things like your Constitution, I actually decide to look up and read the fucking amendments.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, the fun part is they're thinking about removing term limits for presidents. Do you know why term limits for presidents were first put into effect? They were put into effect because a Democrat was about to win a fourth election.
Yeah. Basically, and to be fair, no one can. The whole point is no one should lead in perpetuity. There should be variants. This is not going to. Anyway, let's kind of get back into the proper discussion of what we're here for, which is welcome to the Competence Podcast, where we talk occasionally about video games.
Video games.
I mean, we can always spin it to say that we were talking about Trump getting a third term in Minecraft.
I mean, I prefer that honestly to the reality, but no, it's the games of Vidi as Drifting points out. Yes, although we are not strangers to talking about not just pop culture, but recent events and culture and things going on because they affect the reality of things going on. And boy, has it been a month.
I mean, to be fair, there have been plenty of jokes
Politics
recently.
are in video games whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's what we're going to start with.
Yeah, because I mean,
I just like to start off with one joke I've heard recently, which is Tesla stock prices.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know what you need is you need the Wile E. Coyote. You kind of fallen sound.
I mean, closest I have to that is just.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
it's an alert, it's in a spiral, but no. Let's.
No, it's this fatality.
I mean, there's that.
Not quite. We're not there yet.
Not there yet. Although he's doing a very good job of putting in that direction.
Come on,
Please.
I think we need to actually.
Yeah, talk about video games. Come on. My name is Eback. Welcome to the show. I'm also the one who runs this channel that you're watching this on, whether you be watching us on the Twitch or on the new YouTubes, where you can find us eventually. Once I finally eventually. And yeah, Cowabunga dude. To my right is we have Mr. Burward. It's your left. You have Mr. Burr. I am Burr.
Hello.
That-
Don't look at the mouse.
I've been wondering, is that still your? I know that's your Twitter handle. Is it your Blue Sky handle as well?
Hold on. I'll need to switch to.
I think it's somebody else.
It is. Well, my Blue Sky handler would be very long, but you could because that's not any handler of mine actually.
Right then, we'll fix that.
That's the Twitch handle, isn't it?
We'll fix that in the post.
Down in the corner we have Mr. Lemming Russ, also our patriarch for all things 40k.
Yes.
He wasn't
Howdy!
explaining 40k to Jesse Cox. When I saw that fucking thumbnail, I was like, no, that's my. Where is my boy?
Yeah, we need.
We're here.
We need Levin to teach Jesse about 40k.
Yes, unfortunately, somebody else has done it, and I'm.
Yeah, I actually watch British material. He is very funny. I can't do that sort of quality content.
And of course, I wouldn't say below me, but that just sounds very inappropriate. Is my good friend of yours, Miss Shadowfelix Ryder.
Hello. I occasionally also talk about Gambit.
Which
At the
also.
moment.
Sorry, I like that. Occasionally talk about Gambit. Occasionally?
We occasionally talk about video Gambit.
No, he's the current Blorbo du jour, okay? I don't know who the next one
Yeah, Drifting's backing me up
I
here.
mean, to be fair, you have Gambit. I have the pink-haired death lady here.
So what is it that you're watching? You're watching the Common Sense podcast every last Tuesday of the month. Don't ignore the fact that it's the first Tuesday of the month. I gather my friends, all four of us, just talk about video games, pop culture, what we've been doing,
Nerd culture.
Because we used to do it. We used to game quite a lot together in something called Shadow Squadron, which you can watch the videos on YouTube as well. And we used to find about an hour after our game session would be nattering the night away. And we thought, why don't we actually just turn this into a podcast? And so here we are. Yeah. So let's kick off with the normal question: what have people been playing for the last month? And I'm going to choose Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, and it's going to be a Shadow.
I knew you were going to do that. You always do that to me. I haven't actually been playing that much. Well, I say that's kind of a lie. I've been bouncing around quite a few games at the moment. Played a couple of demos that I quite. Some that I liked, some that I didn't.
Yeah, there was a Steam Fest, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was the Steam Fest, and there was also a focus on colony games of recent, colony and building simulation games. And I remember I followed two games, and their names are escaping me, so I'm quickly looking them up. They'll be here somewhere.
While you're doing that, I mean, I was looking at that because I don't know why I am filled with the idea of one day I want to try being El Presidente, but that's just me.
Funny you mentioned that. I have Tropico 6 installed, and I keep meaning to play it.
I thought you were talking about Far Cry 6 and you want to be Giancarlo Esposito.
No, Tropico.
I mean, I already run I already run a global secret network of criminals and organizations. What's a country to manage in a banana republic?
You want to be a dictator in Tropico. I want to be dictator in Far Cry 6. We are not the same.
At least the dictator in Far Cry 6 actually lets you end the game if you just wait for 10 minutes.
We can all agree that the only place where you are absolutely okay to be a dictator is in a video game. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Trying to be evil.
Or Sacha Baron Cohen movie.
Don't look away from me, Drifting, even though you're not physically here. I know you've removed the stairs from a swimming pool in your life in The Sims. You're not innocent.
Yeah, she's murdered people. In a video game. It's also it's okay to be a fascist and a communist is in video games. Any other time. Any other time you're like fascist, no. Like communist, you're on like. You're on icy ground. Anyway, I am now following the games Talatani, Aztec cities, because I'm a slut for things that are not European European building games. Like I am so fucking sick of like Western medieval like fucking medieval simulations. Like I'm boring. It's boring. I'm European. I've seen this shit thousands of times. Give me another culture. So yeah,
I walk past that stuff on my way to work. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like I don't care. Give me something else. So there was the Aztec cities, and then one I think you might be interested in, El Centopia, which is basically you murder people in the overworld to get their souls, and then you basically build shit in hell in order to wring the sins dry out of the people you've killed to make money to do more kind of thing. It's basically It's basically capitalism, but sins. It's like the Catholic Church. It's the Catholic Church, so it's. I
Glances nervously at chat.
I quite enjoyed it for what I played. But yeah, I've been mostly playing Stardew Valley. Actually, I got back into that because every now and again I like to clear my save like completely and just start again. Especially because for some fucking reason Eric Baldur cannot leave this game alone. Like every time we think he's done, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm working on the Haunted Chocolatier. Don't worry about it. And then like every now and again he goes, oh yeah, I just made a completely new update for Stardew Valley with new content. And like, Eric, bro, just leave the game alone. It's
the
fine.
game's done. The game's fine. You know, you don't.
There's actually a piece of Stardew Valley news that we can hit on later. Remind me.
What is
that? Live action fucking movie, are they?
No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about it later when we hit the news.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I have been playing. I've been like all over the place with games, which is why I'm not really like staying quite long on them. But I did play 9 Years of Shadows, which is a Metroidvania that you're quite interested in.
I saw you play it.
Game. Yeah, I like the game. I like its vibe. And like, there's half of me that's like, there's half of me that says, "Hey, Shadow, just keep going with it. You'll click with it eventually." And the other half of me that's like, This is not. No, I'm not built for this kind of thing. So I've uninstalled it, kind of thing. And I'm not gonna like put a big judgment down on it or anything. But I will say some of the mechanics, like the heal mechanic to put your shield back up, is very annoying because it has like, there's an animation you go through, and it can be interrupted, and you'll take a hit. You'll take a hit for your health, but like it takes so long, and you can't cancel it, kind of thing. So once you go into that, you're pretty much stuffed in the middle of a boss fight. Because there's a boss fight I was doing where it requires you to use your energy to shoot its shield off, so it will fall from the so it'll fall off the ceiling onto the ground, so you can smack it. The problem is the energy bar that uses that shot is also your shield, kind of thing. So if you fuck up in any reason and don't manage, because also you have to shoot its shield off so it falls down from the ceiling. And if you don't do that, it will attack you and hurt you. So you can reach a stage where you've exhausted your energy bar, so you've only got the 2 hits you've got on you, and you're trying to recharge. The guy falls down on top of you because you haven't because you haven't timed it correctly. So you get hurt, but you can't recharge your energy. It's just, it's so annoying. It's like all of these things happening at once, and then once you get hit, you just get your ass kicked for the rest of the fight. And also the death animation takes far too fucking long as well. Like, it's okay like the first couple of times, and then after a while you're just like, okay, can we move on, please? I've got shit to do, kind of thing. So I think the game for me personally just doesn't, like, I'm sure it'll make somebody very happy, but that person is not me. That person is not me. I'm looking for something else, kind of thing.
I also decided to give it a go. Because thing is, there's lots of Metroidvanias out there, but just because there's lots of Metroidvania doesn't mean they actually gel with me. Like, I didn't like The Last Faith as much as its aesthetic really appealed to me. And I think some are better than others in terms of games. Like, for example, I actually really hold The Lost Crown, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, in very high regard, because it was actually very well done, and it does what I think Metroidvania should do, which is your momentum is your moveset, and your moveset should enhance your movement and momentum throughout the game, whereas some Metroidvania is like, oh, you're going to get this ability to break down walls, which not really interesting. Doesn't really speed you up. It just gives you access to things. So it is interesting.
Also, recently I've noticed that it's very clear in showing what's happening, who you are, who the enemies are. It's very easy to understand in a split second what's happening on screen. Because I will get back to it when I'm talking. Sorry.
Okay, that's right.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I haven't really got anything else. I'm still playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure, although that's more me just like logging in to get like the login bonuses. Like, I log to be free. Let me go.
That's fair.
It has
Let
reached
my
the point
shadow go.
It's just, like, I like the game, but it has just reached the point where it's just fucking like,
release me.
I'm literally just grinding shit to try and get like 3 characters up to like level 20 friendship, and it's doing my fucking nut in, kind of thing. And honestly, I'm very quickly sort of like getting to the point of like, maybe I should just like not.
When a game starts being fun, that's when you kind of have to put it down or think about putting it down.
Yeah.
I've been playing a bit more Pacific Drive. Really been enjoying that. It is a stop-start game for me. I have also shout out to that game. Great accessibility mechanics. I never liked the random storms that can come in and just force you to end your run. You can turn them off. The game does literally allow you to completely modify your experience on a whim from playing the game. And it's made me so that I'm now playing the game and I'm now actually really enjoying it. And some will say that takes away some of the danger. There is still danger in that world. I died my first time ever while doing that. So, you know, there's still danger. And what I like is it was able to get some people that I know to buy the game because they knew they could cater the experience to what they desire, which is nice. I'm all for accessibility in games, especially ones where, yeah, you can have difficulties presets, but it's nice when you can get in there and you can like twirl the cogs a little bit, which some would say, but you know, that make games too easy. Like, yeah, but it goes the other way. You could make it really hard if you want to, you know.
Controversial take, I know, but I play video games to have fun.
Me too. I'm not here to prove something.
That means I make.
You don't play video games because you're a masochist? What's wrong with you?
Also,
I have work. I work full time, mate. You really think I want to put extra work on myself?
One time,
a surprising take. People are different.
Yeah.
Shocking.
One person is very easy, another person is very hard.
One time we're gonna have to have a discussion about achievements and trophies because I have thoughts about those. It would be nice to talk about that.
My massive achievement list.
Oh no, it's nothing bad. It's just we'll get to it one day. I did play some Dishonored, which I was streaming that. That's going to stop because Lewis is going to be doing it, and I'm actually more interested to actually have him do it as someone who's inexperienced. I picked up but not played RoboCop Rogue City, which
you need to.
Yeah,
I need to start that as well.
Yeah, I need to get that try.
I have it installed. I just haven't played it yet.
I also gave On Guard a try after a few years of having it after Berg got it for me very kindly, and absolutely loving it. I love the swashbuckling nature of it and the kind of almost rhythmic combat you can have with it, and the idea that you can do things like, you know, you can throw a bucket on someone's head and they're just taken out of combat while and like doing that thing where they're trying to get the bucket off their head. And then, of course, you can like poke people in the buttocks with your sword. You can kick the table towards them. You know,
you can kick barrels at people. You can kick people against walls. There's a lot of cool things.
Yeah, but thing is,
swing on chandeliers.
There is swing on chandeliers. There's also very good a lot of nuance to the combat system, which I quite like. Like, it does encourage you to do flashy things because it will cause enemies to react in shock and that'll stun them. Very interesting gameplay. Very much liking that. Other than that, I've only really been still tightly focused on.
Oh, did we lose your mic?
We did. The stream has as well.
Oh no.
Yeah. I thought that was me for a sec.
Did your Discord decide to update all of a sudden?
Because it's not it's not your Wave 3, is it? It's not Wavelink causing issues. So, E-Rex.
Yeah, so Lemming, what have you been playing?
Yeah. I'll just run through the list of like little games I've been playing, and then I'll go on my tangent. I've been playing It Takes Two with drifting every Wednesday. Having a lot of fun. We're about halfway through the game, maybe.
I love the chaos that you're having.
Oh yes, it's a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I don't know about drifting. I hope she's having a lot of fun. I've been playing a little bit of Hades here and there, a little bit of Cyberpunk 2077, lots of Escape from Tarkov of various methods, and then the game that I've been playing this month for about 40 to 50 hours over the course of this month.
I'll put
Aha!
Carry on, Lemming. I'll finish off in a bit.
Yeah, well, I'll let you finish once I'm done with this little tangent. I have attempted to play the free-to-play game Conflict of Nations World War III.
I have noticed you attempting to play that multiple times.
Yeah. So how are you doing? How far?
I came second in the only game I've played. I came second. Basically, it's a world strategy game where everyone picks a nation. And it's like 20 to 40 players. Everyone picks a nation, and then you build combat units. You attack each other. You talk to each other. Try not to attack each other. Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? You do the whole like political aspect of things. You talk to each other. You barter. You don't attack each other. But it is the single most egregious use of microtransactions I've ever seen.
Oof.
Which is why I've only ever played one game of it. Because you can use real-life money, gold, for literally anything.
Eesh.
It's like, you want resources? Use gold for resources. You want to build a unit? Use the resources to build the unit. Use gold to speed up the build time to instant. So if you want to drop a bunch of money and instantly win a multiplayer game, there you go. You've got an army. Go attack your enemies.
I mean, that is kind of realistic because wars are won with money.
Yeah,
but
the fact that
that's horrible in a video game.
Yeah, the reason. Let's see. All of the other players, except for me and a guy playing as Poland, believe it or not, left because that guy was golding.
Oof.
So it was me and this guy who's using gold versus bots. So I just sent him a message saying, "Hey, you're gonna win this. Mind if I just take a bunch of territory and let you win?" And he was like, "Cool, yeah, I'll leave you alone." He captured the rest of the map and won that way. Because however much territory you end up with at the end of the game gives you gold for your next game.
Ah.
So you can get gold by just playing other games and then focus it all down into one big game and win that without trying. And it's just like, I'm just spent a month playing this thing and thinking, what is even the point?
Yeah.
It takes a day. It takes like 24 hours to build an infantry unit. Everything is super slow. A day and a half to build a factory.
That's like fucking mobile game. Fucking.
Oh, it's mobile game. It's mobile game through and through. I had it on my phone. I had it on Steam, and I had it on my browser. And they all interconnect. You can play the same save on all aspects, but it's still the same thing. It's just like, yay, this person's put a bunch of money in, and now I lose.
Ugh.
So I've uninstalled it on all platforms. I'm not touching that again.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Not surprising.
Right, back to you, Ebek.
Oh no!
What the? I thought it was working again.
Free my boy from like mute jail.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we'll just
one word.
One word.
Yay! He's back.
Hey,
Two
mute
words.
jail.
One beginning with F, the other one beginning with another letter. You can probably guess which one. It's no. That time voice mod decided to crash for some weird reason. Don't know why voice was acting up today.
Mod, okay.
It was voice mod acting up, yeah. Because I put that through. No, I've been laser focused on Pokemon for the last month as well. I finished Arceus. I caught God. Which I caught God twice because I didn't caught him in Brilliant Diamond. So I've caught two gods, or the same god twice.
The question is, which of the little superpowered animals did you use to beat up God?
Oh God, I depends which team you talk. Well, if you're talking about Brilliant Diamond, that was my Gallade.
Okay.
If it was my Arceus, what was it that was running? There was something with False Swipe. Dragon Carrot. Oh, it was my Garchomp with False Swipe. So yeah,
nice.
I had a Garchomp off. Yeah.
Go
on.
Go on.
No, please finish.
I was going to say a lot of our little community here has also picked up Hades recently.
Yeah. No, I've not played it. I'm waiting. I want to have a full new experience when I shoot with Witted and Lewis.
Nice, yeah.
But when I finished Arceus, I decided to try something new for Pokemon. I didn't move on to Scarlet and Violet. I decided that I was going to play new Pokemon Snap.
Ooh.
Oh.
And do you know what? I'm absolutely in love with that game. It's a nice little chill game. It's absolutely adorable. It was so fun just to kind of sit down and play. And I never played the original Snap, but this game was so well made, and I have seen the original played, and it's a great evolution of the game. So I'm very think that anyone should pick up the game. It's a great play. And I also gonna throw some shade. It's a very good looking game, Game Freak. It's a very good looking game, Game Freak. You know, unlike the shit you seem to be shoveling out to us every 3.5 years.
Okay, I'm gonna put my hand in this hornet's nest. ZA has no business looking as shit as it does.
Let's say that for news. We'll get into it because I want to get into that as well. But I don't want to take up this part of the show with that.
That's fine,
we'll get there. We'll get there. But no, I've been playing Pokemon Snap and I'm really enjoying it. And I like that children have been like, Pokemon. It's like, smile for the camera.
And they've been like little animals.
Yeah, they're looking at you like, ooh, trainer, or photo, yeah. I played for the entire game, absolutely fell in love with it, and it was nice just to kind of chill and just go through. Also, the motion controls are very good in that game. Yeah, so I will say though, if you're ever going to play it, shove the camera control sensitivity up to bleeding 9. It starts at 3, and that thing is like,
It's like driving a cruise ship.
Yeah, but I'm really enjoying it.
You're operating the world's heaviest camera.
You also get 60 photographs to take. That's not enough on one. You blow through them quickly. It's like snap. Why have I only got 10 photos left?
I have a digital camera over there that's like 10 years old because my dad gave it to me, and I can fit more fucking photos on it.
True, but this thing also plays music. It also shows images. It also makes sounds. It also, you know what? Yeah, fair point.
So it's your mobile phone.
I've just described on smartphone. That was the joke. Anyway, that's me.
Stop.
Is there more from you, Lemming?
No, that's about it. I've been playing these things, as well as a couple of not safe for work games that I will not discuss.
Fair enough. But
too bad. I wanted to talk about them. I wanted to get some recommendations, but okay.
Yeah, you can send them over to Grums.
I don't want recommendations from that asshole.
No.
He's too old. That man is too old and needs to go back to making his game.
I wanted to talk about 2 really cool demos that I was playing of Next Fest. One is Deck of Haunts, which is a deck builder game, but you are a haunted house and you want to attack with your cards, like you inflict physical damage, or you inflict insanity, or you do all kinds of weird things like chill a room in the house, or send ghosts into a room, and you want to murder the people that enter your house because you don't want them to reach the heart of the house. And if you do that quickly or in a certain way, you get more like points to get more rooms, so that your house is more difficult to traverse, or you get better cards. And it's really fun because always you're getting like more difficult guys that would like go straight to the heart, or like are more resistant to physical damage, for example.
Why am I not surprised, as someone who really liked the original Alone in the Dark, that you would an Eldritch House would would appeal to you?
I mean, it is a very fun game. So another demo that I was trying, also a horror, also very similar genre, which was suggested to me like, you like Dick of Hearts? How about try this demo? It's called The Horror of Highbrook, which is a management. It's like, imagine if Betrayal at the House of the Hill was a management game. It's that. It's really fun. It's like a cross between Betrayal at the House on the Hill and a game like Death in Bermuda or something like that. So quite an interesting title as well.
Yeah, I've seen there's like a Betrayal House on the Hill style game out there where you can select rooms and build a house out. Also, Rami never to buy a house from you.
Yeah. So out of the actual games that I was playing, I'm going to mention some of them because I want to focus on one of them mostly. I have finished Tales of Kenzera Zao, which is a Metroidvania that is really fun. It would be maybe interesting from the art style and aesthetics point, Shadow, because it's based on Kenya and Kenyan aesthetics. It looks really nice. It feels great. I mean, it sounds great. There are great actors. The story is very touching because the author even said at I think the Game Awards that he made this game for his late father, and it's really a touching game. But it really stressed me out because it's very busy. It's very visually busy. So I started playing it on my Steam Deck. And it was really hard to play because everything was very small and a lot of colors, a lot of shapes. It was hard to focus on it. I had to switch to PC.
I've had on the game as well. It looks quite good.
Yeah, and there were a few runaway stages that I always hate in games, especially that checkpoints are very far between. So there were things I really hate in that game. But overall, pretty fun game. And really, really appealing visually. I have also finished Star Trek Resurgence, and I'm now really excited to see Elle play it, because this absolutely will make you fall in love with this game. It's the 2380s Star Trek, so it's the post TNG and post Voyager. It's really fun. You're gonna love it.
Well, the thing is Star Trek doesn't really do like what I call calm games. Like a lot of Star Trek games do action games. So having like a Telltale style adventure game like for Star Trek makes a lot of sense to me. So
yeah, me too.
Oh, there's a lot happening in that game. It's like imagine like half a season worth of a game.
Bloody hell.
It's a lot. It's really fun. The story is great. The characters are amazing. You're gonna love the characters. And there's a lot of things that are really interestingly built. Especially that in Telltales, you would usually have things like you impact the choices. Whereas in this game, it's more like you impact the attitude of characters towards you. And that attitude in turn may impact choices, but mostly it is focused on how the characters are. What is their attitude? Are they hostile? Are they friendly? Are they neutral towards you? Which is also quite interesting. I would say the people who made this game really took a long, hard look at what went wrong with Telltale. and they thought, okay, let's try to do better, and they kind of did really do better. It feels much more like the in many places like the more of the Life is Strange and other follow up sort of ways of doing that rather than the actual like Telltale. So I'm really excited to see you play this game.
I'm also looking forward to giving it a shot. You know me, I love my Star Trek, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I've started playing Final Fantasy VIII because I've never played that game, and also I found a fan-made Polish translation, which is also fun to see. Which like translated things to the level of changing words on the static background images that you have in the game. So a lot of attention to detail. And also started playing Broken Sword Reforged, which is the remaster of the first Broken Sword. That game's also fun and also very interesting, but Jesus Christ, there are some things that are the product of its time, with some comments from the main character. And also, I gotta say, George Stobart is the most judgmental bitch I've ever played as.
Wow.
Isn't that all adventure game characters, though? Really?
Oh, he takes the cake.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's like imagine Phoenix Wright with his thought sassy comments, but increase the judgment level to really harsh.
Damn.
Oh, so like Miles Edgeworth on a bad day, then?
Kind of. Well, I mean, Miles Edgeworth is too constipated to like think those thoughts. But what if Miles Edgeworth could think those thoughts? It would be that.
Fair enough. Anything else, or is that it? Bert?
Yeah, it's very, no. The final I left for the end, which is I got interested in a demo when in the previous Next Fest, and it finally came out. So I started playing the first Berserker Kazan, and it's an amazing game. I got so hooked up. I can't stop playing it. It's a Souls-like game. The aesthetics is very generic fantasy, sort of Dark Ages / like Mongolian horror aesthetics. So very book standard. But it's a very fun game. It shows how well you can do all kinds of improvements, quality of life, changes to the Souls-like genre that helps a lot of people, but still makes the game pretty difficult.
Oh, so you can make like Dark Souls, but good.
Yes. It's not perfect yet, but there's a lot of things that I absolutely love. Like when you're struggling against the boss, each time you die to the boss, but you still get the chunk of his health, depending on the level of how many souls, they're called lacrima in this one, you get from the boss. You'll get a chunk of it, depending on how much you whittled down the boss. So you can get like half of the lacrima that you should get for defeating the boss. So if you're struggling, you will always chip away some of it, and you can finally like get more and more to level up your character, and you'll get better stats, or you'll get new skill points that you can improve your weapon. You can improve your basic stats like your strength or your proficiency. And you can finally get beyond, like, for example, if you don't have enough oomph in your weapon, you will finally get that at some point. Instead of like having to leave trying this boss and going grinding somewhere else, you can just try to it's especially useful at the first and second bosses, so that you really quickly level up when you're defeated by the boss for the 5th or 10th time. You've amassed a lot of lacrima. You can level yourself up. So that's really great. Also, the checkpoint is always very close to the boss, so you don't have to run through half of the level to get to the boss. which I hated in every Souls game.
Convenience.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. There's in the inventory. I love the fact that you get an indicator what kind of item you have that is new that you have picked up and didn't check yet on the weapon or gear selection. You can see which items are stronger than the one that you carry at the moment. In some way, you can then compare details, like it has better base defense, but it, for example, doesn't give you a fire resistance or something. So you can immediately see, okay, this weapon is better. I will now check in what ways it's better. So you can get offline. Sort of, this game is offline, unlike the Dark Souls, which are online games. But you can get offline help with the bosses. You can always summon a help, which is called the Revenant of Advocacy, that will help you fight the boss. But you have certain items, that you have certain currency, let's say, that you have to spend, and you have to defeat another kind of enemy that's called Revenant of Adversity to get those points. But the places, the spawn points for those Revenants are strewn everywhere in the game, so it's pretty easy if you suddenly decide that, yeah, I will need like 30 points of advocacy because I will have to grind on this boss a lot and I'll need help. You just have to fight a few of those Revenants of Adversity. You'll get the Lacrima for them, so you can level up, and you'll get those points that will help, that will let you summon the help for the boss. So a lot of things that would help you are much easier to gain.
Mm.
The aesthetics is really nice because it's very comic book anime sort of cel shaded art style, which is very pretty. And also it feels very, the art style feels like it plays the role as well, because everything on the level would be like kind of monotone, like shades of gray or shades of green when it's a spider cave, or shades of white and like almost grayscale in the snowy mountains, except for some particular elements that would be colored, like something to collect or a particular kind of boss. And they really contrast very well with the rest of the world, and that makes it a very interesting art choice. I really enjoyed almost everything. If there's one thing that I didn't enjoy in Kazan, it's the fact that you cannot pause the game. So if you like press escape or anything, yeah, it sucks.
If it's not online, why not?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, it is something that you were able to do in game that was only single player, like Sekiro. When you press like options, it freezes everything. And in this one, it doesn't. So maybe they will update it. Maybe there is an option that they just didn't find in the accessibility options. But yeah, if not, then it's not a great choice. But everything else, I really enjoy so far.
Good.
Yeah, I personally would like to see the thing where you still earn a little bit of experience even if you lost to the boss in more games, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I understand it might not be like possible with the save, like the save functions of some games, but like it can feel like it can just feel like shit, just beating your face against the boss and just losing everything and not getting anywhere. Whilst even if the game was like, you lost, here's your stuff back, and also here, have some pity XP kind of thing. At least you're like kind of like, you feel like you've got somewhere, kind of thing. And like it might just be like the little thing you need to push you over the edge to get stronger, to get past the guy, kind of thing. Whilst otherwise,
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
slamming yourself against the wall.
that's one of the better features of Hades, for example. Every time you play through a run in Hades, you're going to get resources. Even if you die, that'll make you better on the next run.
Yeah. But in this case, it's without the need to go all through the previous levels to get to the boss again.
Yeah. Sounds good.
There was one more.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I just wanted to say that this is one of my favorite elements of that game at the moment.
Well, there was one game I actually did miss out on talking about, and that is actually Blasphemous 2. I've played and completed the Mea Culpa DLC that they released, which was released about a year ago, maybe. And yeah, it was nice to kind of go back to that game. I quite liked Blasphemous 2. Not sure if I liked it as much as the first one. Which is more of a case of I don't know, not that I don't, is that one is better than the other. But I quite liked it. It was nice to be able to get your signature sword back effectively, which is part of the campaign. The whole story is that you're basically getting your original sword from the first game back as a weapon, which is nice.
That is also a game that I forgot. But yeah,
you've been playing it too.
Yeah, like encouraged by you, I also played Blasphemous 2, and I gotta say, I hated that game with a passion. I hated both Blasphemous games, but at least I finished Blasphemous 2.
Yeah, that is one thing I will say to the developers of Blasphemous is, and I do think that their game could do better with some actual accessibility options, because they have like one that allows you to turn the text into just standard text, which is good for readability. If you'll have issues with that. But let's have something for actual gameplay modifiers for people who need it, because you're not a slouch, Burr. If so, the fact that I can do it just proves that you should be able to do it too. But I can't believe we keep having this discussion, people. That people have different needs.
Yeah. Also, I can spend 10 hours on just fighting one boss. But I don't
do you
think
want
it's
to?
the best way to use my time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I have. Go on, Shadow.
I was just gonna say I have such a low bar for like trying against hard brick walls at the moment. It's just like maybe that's just a feature of me, and I can understand people will be like, oh, well, you need back in the olden days. It's not back in the olden days. I have like a whole backlog to go through. Like, if a game's going to waste my time, there's going to be a game in there.
There's a game that's not. Yeah, exactly. That's my aspect as well. Is that for every game that's going to try and waste my time, there's a game in there that won't, and that will actually respect my time.
Yeah.
And it's a case of I want to like these games. You just are not giving me that. And let's face it, people say, oh, but there shouldn't be accessibility because it's overcoming adversity. I say bullshit to that. Are you going
to tell somebody that's the kind of thing? Is like, are you going to tell somebody who's colorblind to overcome their, overcome this genetic condition that you have and you will never.
I fucking dare someone to go to like get someone who's in a wheelchair, go to like a track or something, run a 200-meter length, look at that person and say, if I can do it easy, you can do it. And if you are to a person who thinks, oh, there's nothing wrong with that, maybe take a look in the mirror, personally. But that's just my opinion.
If you wouldn't go to somebody with like a broken leg, like, oh, just walk it off, then don't fucking do it to other people. Come on now.
Yeah, overcoming your adversity should be a fully adjustable thing, because everyone's adversity threshold is somewhere else.
Well, not just that, everyone's idea of fun is different. I mean, we had this whole discussion. I mean, but you quite enjoyed the fact that in Jedi Survivor, you could actually edit the parry window to where it was not easy, but it was possible for you and much easier for you, but without having to worry about the enemies being dumbed down.
Because the best example of that was the Rancor, where the Rancor, literally, when I reduced the difficulty from Jedi Master to Jedi Knight, the Rancor was trying to hit me like 4 times before I killed him, which is like completely like, was it sleeping? What was it doing?
I
was just standing there while I was just chopping at him.
Yeah, I will admit I actually use accessibility. I use an accessibility option in Ghostbusters to do the because when you're a ghost and you get caught in the trap, there's this mini game where you have to hammer a particular button as fast
I
as
hate
possible.
it.
Yeah, you have to hammer a button. You have to put your mouse in the reticle that is moving, by the way, and also hammer a button at the same time. And I basically, and that's a very difficult thing to do. But I have the accessibility option on that automatically hammers the button for me. But let me tell you, even though that does help me 9 times out of 10, but it's still really fucking difficult if you're pressing the wrong button, kind of thing. If you don't
I've
have the
never
mouse
pulled
in the
that
right
off. I've
place,
never escaped a trap.
yeah, no, it's still really difficult, but it just tilts the scale just enough that there's been times where people think they've got me, and I've just like escaped just in the whisker of a second, kind of thing.
With the skin of your ectoplasmic teeth.
Yeah, but that's how it should be. It should be that kind of moment of just like, oh shit, so close, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been playing for the month. What we got for terms of news? News.
McDonald's have new toys.
Oh yes, I've seen those. Yep, McDonald's have Minecraft toys.
For grown-ups this time.
For grown-ups.
They have Happy Meals, and they also have adult toy meals.
I see.
That's all from McDonald's.
Hey, we should talk about like the new Pokemon trailers. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Yes, new Pokemon trailers. I'm very sorry, Mist, because you're in the chat and I've already done this to you. So
do it again.
There was a Nintendo Direct. And
which I haven't watched.
Which is fair. It's all right. It wasn't like people expect every game in a Nintendo Direct. People expect every game in a Nintendo Direct to wow them. Are idiots.
I will just bitch like the people who were going, oh, this Nintendo Direct wasn't very much. I was just like, for shut the fuck up. Witchbrook, a game that has been in my following, in my Steam following for literal fucking years, finally like came out of the woodwork and said, hey, we've got gameplay, and I'm really excited about that. And then people to come around and go, oh, well, that Switch was shit, what the fuck was the point with that? Just like, shut the fuck up, okay? It was good for me, okay?
Yeah, I gotta say, this Direct had
Touchy life, come on.
Each game would wow someone.
Yeah, don't yuck somebody's
that's the point. But yeah, looking at Pokemon ZA, oof.
Like, okay, like if Elle's already been on this, I'm gonna briefly steal the baton for now. The game, like the character models and the Pokemon and some of the grass look really nice. Like the Pokemon look absolutely fantastic. Everything else looks like dog shit. I'm sorry. It just and like there's loads of people coming out of the woodwork going like, oh, but like it's better. It is better than before. And then they're like, oh,
don't trip over that fucking low bar you just set. You know, it's my response to that.
It's got so much going on, and the Switch too has got so like the Switch has only got so much like programming power, and I just like turn around and gesture to Xenoblade 2 and I go, okay, so the Switch can run Xenoblade 2 looking like this. What the fuck is Pokemon's excuse? And Pokemon's excuse is it's got a tiny fucking team. That's the fucking excuse, and we keep buying this, and like nobody is demanding like
check this out.
Look how beautiful that is. Look how detailed that is. But no, we're just rolling over and letting like Pokemon just piss on our faces and tell us it's raining. Like at some point we have to demand something that's not like the bottom of the barrel. Do you wonder why like Pokemon, like the Pokemon company is so threatened by Palworld? It's because Palworld is doing their shtick but better, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I would argue because Palworld is very sort of edgy.
It is,
but
yeah.
But yeah, what the Pokemon Company needs is a much bigger team and a much longer production cycle.
More time.
Bigger team, much production, and go on, Jenna.
Yeah, I will accept this has been a longer development time, but this is the result. Really?
First of all, I'll back up. Look at those very 2D buildings.
Remember, this is France.
Oh my god!
One of the most beautiful cities in the world, and this is how you represent it with the most boring fucking buildings. Look,
a flat text surface with a texture shoved on it.
I
will point out.
First, let Shelly talk about.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I will just point out first. Look at all the windows; they are exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The balconies are flat.
None of these people are moving except for the main character. It's just like, oh dear.
Yes, Burr.
I just wanted to say my take on this Paris. New Donk City in Super Mario Odyssey was much better made and much more lived in city than this.
Yeah. And people will say like, oh, but Game Freak. Game Freak. Look, when Game Freak moved to Sword and Shield, they were very new at making console games. They'd moved from a handheld game development company to a premier console development company. I just feel like they've not been given the budget or the resources to do it properly. And I'm not going to go and rehash all the arguments. There's a great video from Beat 'em Ups where Woods talks about the problem and the way this game looks, and the fact that it actually this game is a higher resolution than Scarlet and Violet, because they basically took away all the detail, basically, and there's no excuse.
Yeah, you can see it in some of Now I've noticed it. Now I watched that video, and now he pointed out all the shit in the close-ups, all the shit textures. I can't unsee them now.
Nope.
When they do close-ups of the Pokemon kind of thing, I look at the floor and I'm like, ugh. Ugh. What is that?
And to anyone who says, "Oh, but money. Oh, but time," I will repeat exactly the same thing which he says on his video. This is the #1 highest grossing franchise, period. It is nearly topping $100 billion in revenue.
Yeah, remember how Breath of the Wild 2 looked? That Zelda does not have as much money as Pokemon does.
But it does have more staff working on it. Interestingly.
Yes. It's just...
What was it called? It wasn't Breath of the Wild 2. It was...
The first game that comes to my mind when it comes to, shouldn't look as good as it does on a Switch is Ace Combat 7. Because they did a port of Ace Combat 7. And all they did was lower the resolution a bit.
How long were they working on it? 5 years? Because they had a long production cycle on that.
For the full game, yes. They then, once the game was released, they then spent 6 months porting it to Switch. I don't think the Switch port took a long time. But
I don't know. I feel like the Switch port might have taken a long time to get this porting to a T.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, it has some issues. I have some graphical glitches while I'm playing it from time to time. But it's the fact that you might be 5 miles above the ground, but the stuff you're looking around in the ground still looks pretty damn good.
Yeah,
and if Project Aces, who aren't a huge developer at this point, can pull that off, the team behind Pokemon should be doing a damn sight better.
If you have time to work things out, they look better, run better, and will ultimately get you back in the player's favor and will get you more money.
And in fairness, if the Pokemon company turned around and said, okay, I don't think this is working out, we're going to go back to sprite-based video games, I would be completely okay with that, honestly, because well, one, sprite, I have a particular love for sprite work anyway, so, and the Pokemon sprites were beautiful, kind of thing, and I think genuinely, I think they could do really well if they just went back to sprite work.
Black and white, the peak of Pokemon design, in my opinion, in terms of like the visual design of their games. It was a beautiful game. And yeah, if they wanted to go back to like, we're gonna do stylized with stylized 3D models in games, I'll be fine with that. Would I be disappointed? Yes. I feel like that's the wrong way to go, because that basically is admitting we can't do that, and I think that's not right when you are literally the highest grossing franchise in the world. I feel like you should really be the industry leader that you are. If you're earning this much money, you should take a responsibility in like leading the industry, and you're not. You're sitting on your fucking laurels.
Yeah. But I will also say, like, Legends of Arceus was beautiful in that it was using a stylized in the cell shaded art style it was using, and I could definitely see, like, if they leaned into that, their games would look pretty damn good. But like, I don't know. I just like there's a part of me that's like, there's a part of me who still wants to give them like some grace, but then I don't know. I'm feeling like I feel like I'm sort of like I'm losing patience with them, kind of thing.
My response to your response to give them grace is, I'm sorry. I did video game design for a few years. You didn't even bother to make a low poly texture for the nighttime? What fucking morons are you guys over there?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, at that point, I think they're working under tremendous pressure. They just didn't have time.
I feel like. Sorry, go ahead, Shadow.
Yeah, and in that regard, like, I'm now just like, if it comes out, like, Nintendo's companies tend to be well treated as far as we know. However, I will say, if it comes out later that the Pokemon Company in particular was under a lot of crunch, I will not be surprised, because I think at this point there's too few people for the job. Like, you're too few people for a too short amount of time for too much work, kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you've given them an extra year, and this is what they've come, and this is what they managed to get. And one, it shows that they've been doing the work, and I'm glad of that. But also, like, Jesus Christ, guys, is this all they've done? Please hire some more people. You can. But the thing is, they won't. They have no incentive to do any better.
Yeah.
Because, like,
why spend an extra million when we're just going to earn the money anyway?
Yeah, exactly. They're just going to go to the trough and eat the slop again. It's just like, for fuck's sake.
Just to hammer it home, like how big a franchise Pokemon has become. They began in 1996. That's just short of 30 years. And they've earned $99 billion.
Yep.
Just Pokemon as a franchise. The second place on franchises on earnings is Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse was first given to us in 1928.
But small indie
in that time, from that time to now, they've earned $61 billion.
But it's okay, guys, because like the Pokemon Company's just a small indie company. You know, we can't expect like MMO quality graphics from them. It's fine.
You earn nearly twice as much as Mickey Mouse in a third of the time. Shut the fuck up.
They are, and this is exactly what I agree with you. They still believe they can get away with having a development team that is a pivotal thing that probably would have flown well on the DS era, probably would have flown well on, especially the 3DS era, but not for a what is supposed to be one of your prime franchises on a now home console. And I get that the Switch is a hybrid console. I get that it's a hybrid. For the sake of purpose, it is a home console. And I'm sorry, but this is a high definition game that we're talking about here. There's no excuse. We've seen that it's possible. Pal Worlds have proven it's possible.
Yep.
And the reality is that they don't want to spend the money, and they think they could just coast on its success. And I will say that blatantly, in my opinion. I believe Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, by extension, do not care about the quality of the games. They're doing a disservice to their game, that franchise. They're doing a dishonor to that game in my full service. And to be quite frank, they need to think about trying to make this work, because the whole problem of it is the big engine that's Pokemon. Because like, well, we need a new era by this time, so we can get new card game stuff, we can get new anime stuff, it's such this big machine that it now can't work without all the pieces working together. You need to rethink that whole thing then.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
It annoys me because I want to play Scarlet and Violet, because like the new Pokemon, and I like Pokemon, and I wanna like find out what my favorites are. But at the same time, it's just like, you are also charging me AAA price for something that doesn't feel like a AAA product anymore.
Worse, I think.
That's why I've never bought a Pokemon game, is they don't feel like full games to me.
I mean, they are full games in terms of when they were on handheld, they were full games. When they made the jump to a console with bigger expectations, no. And I will actually say it's worse than that, Shadow. They charge a premium price for this game twice, because they do sell bundles with both versions in there.
Yeah.
And they manufactured this from day one of the entire series to sell you two games. Because of course what happens if you don't have any friends?
You want to catch them all?
Want to catch them all, don't you?
Yeah.
You know. So that, I think, like, if it was just one game, I'd be less. I still would be annoyed. But no, they're trying to sell you two games at a premium price.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure why. Like, I accept Sword and Shield being as they are, kind of thing. Like, yes, they do look kind of shit in some regards. Like, things do pop in and stuff like that. But for some reason, like, I could tolerate Sword and Shield. Maybe it's because they mean quite a lot to me, so I'll give them a lot of grace. But then I see, like, Scarlet and Violet, and then I see all the bullshit and all the glitches and everything, and I'm just like, what? Really? You're trying to sell me this for like 60 quid? Are you fucking joking? And the thing is, I think also the thing is that even with Steam games, like PC games, like even if they're like AAA prices, they will come down eventually. Nintendo games, just fuck you. Like, you either pay top tier price, wait for the console to like disappear into irrelevancy, or you fucking pirate the thing. And there's a part of me that's buzzing in the back of my head, just going like, I'm pretty sure we could find somewhere to emulate the Switch and play a pirated version. Should I do that? Absolutely not, because the Switch is a current console. But there's that part of me inside that's going, yeah, but like, you know, it's just like, I shouldn't be thinking that, Nintendo. Come on.
I might be misremembering. I'm pretty sure I read an interview with someone who said that the reason Nintendo games don't depreciate in value or go down is because Nintendo cares about its quality.
Well, they do in some respects, yeah.
I would say they do for they do for every other game. They do for the Mario series, they do for Metroid. All their series they do, except for Pokemon.
Yeah, I remember when, like, Kotaku had that article about, like, emulating the Metroid Dread, and everyone was like, we were all like really angry about it because we didn't want like the series to suffer. But like for Pokemon, it's like, I don't give a shit. Like,
for Pokemon, it might be a good rude awakening for them for the series to suffer, literally.
I wish, but then we look at like the sales records for Scarlet and Violet, and seeing it slowly climb up the rankings was just it's the saddest thing I've seen.
23 million copies sold.
Yeah. Because they kind of know that the core buyer base is addicted to Pokemon and they will buy any slop.
It's just
sounds very dishonorable to me.
Over the last 10 minutes, all I've been thinking is their their production base, their actual development base hasn't grown to match expectations of the size of their fucking fan base.
Yeah, because like Mario managed it, and Zelda managed it, and everything.
Yep.
But Pokemon has just stayed like the small, scrappy company, and that's fine if you're like an indie company. Pokemon's not an indie company. Not anymore.
I mean,
your first party Nintendo.
Let's kind of face let's all kind of also face the facts here a little bit. They were dragged kicking and screaming into the HD era. Because how many years have they been like, we'll just stick to Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and your DDS and your thing. Like, what the fuck's that? In GameCube, what the fuck's that? You know?
In fairness, I remember that one of the reasons why they stayed on the handheld was because Pokemon started on the handheld, and the one thing they wanted to keep throughout all of the Pokemon thing is to be able to play anywhere. So I completely understand why it took them so long to move to Switch, but also that does come with expectations of like, you really need to put the fucking work in now. Ladies and gentlemen.
And also they had to, because Nintendo walked away from every other console and just focused on the Switch. There's no more like 2D, 3Ds anymore. 3DSs, 2DSs. It's just Switch now.
Yeah, so it was it was pretty much just forced on. It forced them to modernize, and I would say. And actually, I would even go as far as saying when they were on the handheld consoles, they were pushing the envelope of games.
Yeah, no.
I mean, there's a reason why every parent during the 80s, 90s, and 2000s called every games console a Nintendo.
Yeah, definitely. And I do remember like the Pokemon games were always pushing it, kind of thing, because we had like the first. We had like the first 3D stuff with Diamond and Pearl, where the buildings were in 3D, and they were showing that off all the time. They were like, "Yeah, look at the buildings! Yeah, we've got buildings and sprites," kind of thing. Which is also why even though I don't like it, I understand why they simulated that in Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, kind of thing. They simulated the sprites, even though it wasn't that good, kind of thing. I get it. And then with Black and White. From what I haven't played it, but I played a little bit, but not very much. Then they really pushed straight into it. They were like, we've got a couple of sprites, but now the sprites are moving, kind of thing, and but more. And with the main city, they were really showing off
camera angles.
The camera angles, things disappearing into the dark, into the distance, kind of thing. The whole thing where the thing rises up around the league. You know, they were really pushing that the DS to its fullest. And then with the 3DS, they were really pushing. They were pushing that poor little console to the edge. You would see that thing lag in horde battles. That poor little thing tried so hard.
People forget that in X and Y, the characters were still chibi-ized, and then when they moved to Oras, they weren't chibi-ized anymore. They were the actual models that they'd used in the actual battles. So they were starting to kind of become more efficient with their coding and size management. And you see a progression in there.
Yeah, they were really it was like they were really trying with the handhelds. They were this was exactly what they used to do for the original Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. You only had a certain amount of megabytes, so you use those megabytes extremely efficiently, and that's what they did. They coded within an inch of their lives, and that's what they did for the handhelds all the way up to the 3DS. But now I think that they've got too much processing power, and they don't really know how to use it. Or they don't have the time to really learn how to optimize it. So they're doing the best they can, but everything's a bit shit. Back to L now.
Oh, just, it's... They peaked the design on Gen 3. I always say Black and White was the best era that they had. But yeah, I think they need to come out swinging in the future. I think what they need to do is they need to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, this isn't working. We need to separate the games from the anime, from the card game for a while, and just focus on making a good game and go from there.
Yeah, just like, because I remember actually when we had this long break from Scarlet and Violet to ZA, I went from sick to the back teeth of Pokemon to, I'm actually really excited to see what they come up with. You know, like we needed that break to just be like, I wonder what's coming on. And then ZA happened, and then it was like, and I was quite excited at first. And then I kind of looked at it more and heard more opinions, and I'm like, okay,
we can't keep hopping on Game Freak. The point is, they need to put the fingers out. I think we all agree.
Yeah. We wouldn't like.
Oh yeah.
I think there's probably going to be people in the comments just being like, "Oh, you're such haters." Like, we wouldn't be if we hated Game Freak, we would not be as.
I'm such a fucking hater. I'm such a fucking hater. I hate all of these games. That
The reason why we're bitching so much is because we love the game. Like, I would love to play Scarlet and Violet. Like, I love the designs of the Pokemon. Like, not gonna lie, the Pokemon designs have been peak every single generation. I don't care what anybody says. Like, they've been peak. Okay, some generations, X and Y, I'm a little bit on, but like, they've been peak. Every single one has like really good Pokemon, and I'm dying on that hill. Every single gen's great, but like, I'm not gonna buy a game just because like I like the little fire croco. He's really cute, but I'm not gonna pay 60 quid for him. I'm sorry.
Unless it was a mascot.
Unless it was a mascot.
Yeah, for a plushie, it's okay to pay 60
Yeah,
quid.
yeah, plushie's fine.
Yeah. Any other news we want to talk about?
Yeah, I've got one small piece of news that I want to kick off in a semi-positive, semi-negative. It's just a piece of news that happened. Stardew Valley.
Yes.
Was in the news this week.
Why?
No updates. No, nothing like that. A mod happened. A very, very big mod.
Yeah, I know this one.
Baldur's Gate 3 expansion mod got released for Stardew Valley. It adds 20 new beautifully drawn characters, 6 new locations, shops, dynamic events, and tons more. Introducing the characters of Baldur's Gate 3 to Stardew Valley. Brilliant. It's been very popular. It's one of the highest rated mods, and it's had millions of downloads already. It's going really well. Wizards of the Coast hit them with the DMCA.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast took down the mod through a DMCA claim, and then after massive outcry, claimed it was they didn't mean to send a DMCA takedown notice to the Baldur's Gate 3 Stardew mod. We are in the process of fixing that now.
Didn't mean.
Yeah, that's a Schrodinger's DMCA.
We didn't mean to. We didn't mean to.
We didn't mean to. Sorry, we didn't realize how much public outcry this would call.
Maybe I would believe that if that wasn't Wizards of the fucking Coast.
Yeah, I didn't mean to send. We didn't mean to send the Pinkertons round to break their knees, but like it just sort of happened.
Yeah. Like I trust you.
With the amount of shit Wizards has pulled off over the last few years, I would believe the worst possible variant of this strategy.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
absolutely.
I still remember the OGL shit, you know?
Yeah.
I remember when you said the Pinkertons round about fucking children's trading card game. Come on. Well, Magic of the Gathering is not really a children's card game. But I remember when you sent like the fucking Pinkertons around about a fucking card game. Come on.
But the crux of this whole thing is they sent the DMCA. There was universal outcry over their bullshit, and they have rescinded.
Good.
It's like amazing. It's almost like whatever they try to do is the worst decision they could have made. How does that happen?
I don't understand.
Stardew Valley players, there's a Baldur's Gate 3 mod. It looks fun. You should play it if you have Stardew Valley.
Here I was going to go make a mention of just like, oh yeah, the modding community for Stardew Valley is like really, really good, and then we're just back to Wizards of the Coast as a fucking idiots.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, the modding community with Stardew Valley is very good.
Yeah, it's almost like, hey, look at all this free publicity. Yeah. What if we were to just like shoot ourselves in the face? That sounds like a great idea.
And if you ever if you ever wondered how to get drifting addicted to Stardew Valley, this is the way.
I tried.
I mean, I posted a picture of Astarion in the group chat.
She sidestepped that. I will also like to point out that Assassin's Creed Shadows released, I think, like a couple of weeks back, and it's been doing really well. Shockingly.
Yeah.
It's almost like people don't give a shit about like this woke bullshit. They just want to play a nice game.
Okay, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I am going to talk about it now that you brought it up.
Well, I wanted to present it as a feel good story. Like, actually, it all worked out in the end.
Pretty much, yeah. It's been fascinating to see. Oh god, yes, Lemming. Yeah. Can you guys remember in the long years that was maybe 2 years ago?
Oh my god.
When no one cared about game statistics and whether a game was how much a game was selling. A game's sales figures were things that I found on trivia, websites.
Yeah. Hey guys, do you remember the grand old times when we could just play video games and we didn't have an ocean of grifters just going, I don't like it. It's got a woman in it. Ew. I've never touched a woman in my life. Gross.
Or gay people.
Or a black person, or somebody who, thinks a little bit different to me, kind of thing. Just like,
someone isn't exactly like me in a video game. How dare they flip table?
For anyone who finds this and decides...
That was all before Rage got profitable on the internet.
Which is the big problem. If anyone finds and it feels like tip-tapping out a comment about how, but the game's not historical accurate, I point you to a previous episode where we talked about historical accuracy and how historical accuracy is bullshit. Now, there's an example which I'm gonna tout. It's the same example I've been throwing out to all these people, so I'm gonna actually air it on the podcast, which is the one thing. And do you know what? I think my friend Lemming here might be able to assist with this one. There is a game.
Take it away, buddy boy.
There is a game called Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 is set in early World War II. We're talking 1939 and 1940 specifically, with various campaigns in there. Lemming, the M1, I think is what the Sebas rifle.
The M1, the
M1 carbine. Specifically,
here's the problem with World War II is everything in the American arsenal was the
M1
something. Okay. But their main battle rifle, their main rifle during World War II was the M1 Garand.
Yeah, which that did exist. But what about the M1 carbine?
Oh yeah, the M1 carbine was a smaller version of the Garand that they gave to. Yeah, that existed.
Yeah, when did it exist?
Roughly the same time.
Actually, I think you'll find, in fact, I've got the wrong gun, that the gun, I'm going to quickly find my post because...
But basically, you had the M1 Garand and you had a slightly smaller, shorter version with a magazine that had more of a pistol round rather than a rifle round.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to do the actually to you here, Lemming. The M1 Garand did exist back then, but the M1 carbine, which appears in Battlefield, bear in mind again, this is in 1939, 1941, wasn't prototyped until 1941.
There you go. Yeah.
Also, I gotta point out, Wolfenstein Mecha Hitler didn't exist.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention one more thing because I was pointed at one discussion when I was watching one video about the historical accuracy controversy in Assassin's Creed Shadows. I was pointed to a stream that was done a couple of years ago where an actual historian, an expert on Renaissance, was being shown through the Renaissance Rome and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. And he was pointing out place after place where this building should not exist there. This building was not in the state of completion. There was a tons of churches that were not started yet, that would have been completed within the next 50 to 100 years. A lot of places were completely put out of date, out of time. There was a lot of places that would have been built in the next 200 years. The most of the Rome was not historically accurate.
Exactly. But that's kind of my point, though, is that when it comes to historical accuracy, which again, mentioning Battlefield 5, the MG42, anyone guess what year that was made?
1842?
1942. You're 100 years out. But point is, they appear in those games. No one bats a fucking eyelid. If everyone remembers, the big controversy with Battlefield 5 was I can play as a woman and I can play as a black Nazi. Makes no sense. It's not historically accurate. Games pick and choose when they want to follow historical accuracy and sometimes subvert that in the interest of providing player engagement in ways that other people don't expect. For example, look, I'm not a historian. I'm not going to say there were gay people in the past. There were. But, but even if you consider it a modern...
people in the past.
Exactly. But even if you think of it as a modern concept, the game can eschew the historical accuracy to portray that. They can also do the opposite and not portray that. The choice is entirely theirs. In the same way that Mafia 3 accurately presents a 1978 black man in the South, the American South, in the height of segregation, which is not a main theme, but a theme of the game. They could have chosen not to portray that if they wanted to, and that would have also been okay. A game developer can make the choices of what they want to portray and what not to portray in their own way. And you saying, "Oh, this is historical accuracy." If you want to read history, go read a fucking textbook or watch a documentary. These are not what these games are for. Yes, they use history as a backdrop, and that is absolutely fair to say. It's fair to kind of point out and say, "Oh, this isn't historically accurate," but to use that as a act to undermine the game, saying like, "Oh, it's historically accurate, therefore the game is shit," is the wrong way to go about it. You can criticize it and say this isn't right, but without the content, but it's kind of you actually be it's not right, but I can also understand why they did that.
Also remember that Jesus was Pastilian.
Pastiche.
Palestinian.
No, Palestinian. That's it. That's the word. I don't know why I forgot how that worked.
Lemon.
Remember, Jesus Christ was a Palestinian man, and Palestinian men don't tend to be white.
And also we get to see that because up to, I think, like 6th, 7th century, all the icons of Jesus, he's brown on them. And it's only when the North and West European iconography started, he started getting long, blonde, flowing hair and white skin.
Strangely, when the evangelicals in the US got involved.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a Catholic church in Hiroshima, and they portray Jesus as an Asian. He has a samurai sword and everything.
Come on,
So maybe not a sword, but he has the yukata and the howdy and the hakama.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Don't you realize that colonizers aren't immigrants? They're colonizers. They're settlers.
So wait a minute. So you're only like an immigrant if you're not like in charge when you like steal the land.
Pretty much.
So you're an immigrant if you don't steal the land, but if you steal the land, you're a colonizer, and that's fine. Okay.
You're a settler.
Can I quickly tangent back to the whole death?
Thank you, Bert.
Yeah, I was first.
I was going to tangent back to the whole
My post is in weird chat, okay?
The whole American M1 thing. It's like during World War II, you could have your M1 Garand, a backup of the M1 Thompson. Your sergeant would have the M1 carbine. You would all be wearing M1 helmets, and you'd be backed up with the M1 155mm artillery gun.
So
everything was an M1.
So what you're telling me is that the Americans are idiots and they have no inventiveness in their names at all.
Well, basically, yeah.
Did M1 highway exist back then?
Let's check. There's the M1 rail line, there's the M1 in Copenhagen, there's the M1 Istanbul Metro.
Well, there's an M1 in the UK. I don't think that
there's
counts.
I think that's what Buzz referring to.
Metro of the M1.
That's what I meant.
There's also the Metro M1 in Prague.
We should move on from the news because we need to kind of get on our topic, otherwise we're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
So the topic.
I was just looking at the clock going, what are we going to do?
I was thinking that, yeah.
So edutainment and education within video games. Edutainment's kind of disappeared over the few years. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have never seen it. I haven't seen an edutainment game at all. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places, but like
maybe we're not looking in the right places because we're not really the demographic. We're not parents. We don't have kids.
Yeah, but like there's usually well I think we remember edutainment games being like PC programs or Apple like programs as well, like sold as separate, but I don't see this as like a thing anymore. I haven't seen anything for like aside from like a couple of games, maybe like Peppa Pig or something like that. But that's not really an edutainment game. That's more like just a game for children.
The other thing is that when there were like 50 games produced in a year, it was easier to spot the edutainment programs or games among them. Now we have 50 games produced in a day, an hour. Something like that.
That is true.
It's a bit harder.
Yeah, and I do think like the mobile market has kind of
muscled in on
usurped it as well, because instead of like making a dedicated edutainment game that's that teaches but is also like decent, you just get mobile slop now. Or whatever the fuck is going on with YouTube.
Yeah, you get Cocomelon.
Yeah, it's weird because I do remember this weird Aztec kind of game that was on the computers at school. And then we're talking, God, that must have been 1995, 96. As I was in first school at that point. Yeah, I do remember this very, very vivid image of it. It's all very 2D and such. But yeah, there was kind of an era where they were trying to use famous mascots as a form of edutainment. Like you had, of course, Sonic the Tank Engine games, Peppa Pig, as you always say. I mean, we've all seen Caddy do the Rayman one as well.
We had Rayman teaches maths in Polish. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a game. I really wish that it's a very rare game. You cannot find it even on archive sites anymore. But Peter Rabbit's Number Garden, which taught maths, and with lots of little mini games. Like there was one mini game which was fractions. I think there was a fishing mini game which taught fractions. There was the one that involved the bees and the hedgehog. I can't remember her name. That taught, I think it was division and multiplication, and there was two others that I can't remember. But you earned radishes from playing the games, and you used the radishes to buy seeds so you could like grow plants in this garden, and it was incredibly buggy. Like you had to plant them in specific areas because like if you didn't, the game was just like, I hate you, why are you doing this to me? And you could get like little bugs. Like I remember there was a ladybird and a bee, and there might have been like a grasshopper or something, and it was the cutest motherfucking shit. It was like beautiful watercolored like artwork kind of thing, and for the love of God, I cannot find that for love nor money anymore. I got rid of my own copy, and I'm so sad. Like I'm going back to past me, like no, don't get rid of it.
I mean, we also we can't forget Humongous Entertainment as well.
Oh my God, that's not really edutainment games.
I would argue they are. I would argue they are edutainment games in many ways.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I'll rescind that actually because I remember the stuff I remember from that I would not have remembered from like other places.
Exactly, and some of it's entertainment. It is disguised edutainment, a lot of it, and also could be more about experience. Like, for example, the one I remember from How He Was Entertainment was Let's Explore. And Let's Explore the Airport, because it was like teaching you about how the airport works as a location. So it's less about like the ABCs and more like your experiences about how this piece of infrastructure works from the standpoint of a child.
I am a Pajama Sam truther. I'm going to bat for Pajama Sam. Like, that is such a good one, kind of thing.
I think Connor is a but truther. We would need him here.
But I kind of like introduced him to Pajama Sam, and he was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Speaking of actually Connor, because Scarf's done an edutainment game as well. Scarf. I'm trying to find which video it is. It's because I know that I've played it before, but I can't remember what the name of it is. I think it's
the maths one. It's
the logical journey of the Zombonis. Zombonis, Zombinis. Because I remember, because I actually had that game as well. So that's the which me and
I had Peter. I didn't have that one. I had Peter Rabbit, but I do remember this. My school had I cannot remember for the life of me what it was called, but it was a maths game, and I remember there was a guy called Fraction Man, and it was it was very funny. I loved playing it. Like, I was shit at the maths, but like I loved. I love.
For all our youngsters out there, that was back in the day when classrooms had one computer, and you'd go in groups and sit around a computer. And
I had a posh primary. I had a posh primary school. We had multiple computers. We were lucky.
Well, la-di-da.
We had RuneScape on them as well when nobody was watching.
Y'all are hitting too close to my heart here, because my junior school, on my last year at that junior school, they finally got a computer. And guess who got to use the computer first?
You.
All the first years.
No.
Meaning, by the time I filtered out to senior school, I didn't get a touch. I never even saw the school computer by the time I left.
Oh no.
I do remember when I was in I think it was year 1. It was either year 1 or reception. I think it was year 1. We did get to. No, I'm just thinking now.
Every time my school got something
reception.
cool.
We got to get around the computer, and it was the silly like little paint program, and it was so cool.
Every time I left school, the school opened something cool just after I left.
Always the way, isn't it?
Junior school got its first PC just as I left. Senior school, they got an entire gymnasium and PC, like computer science block built the year I left.
Oof.
Like, fuck it.
But you see, you were too cool, Lemming. They had to raise the coolness levels after you left.
Yeah, video games.
Too cool for school.
I also think it's important to remember these were kind of. I'm not going to say because people say they're not the early days of video games, because video games have been since the 80s, but they were the early days when games started to become popular and started to become more mainstream, more mainstream, not exactly mainstream. But their applications became more widely. Like, it became cheaper to manufacture. They became more representative. You could actually show more detailed things on there. So yeah, I still remember huddling around in year 2 a computer with the Aztec game, as I said, and I can't remember a lot of details of it. I know it was 2D, and it was standard like CRT or CMB or whatever graphics, where it was like cyan, big fat cyan colors and all that. Like, so yeah, I remember that. And then games started to become a bit more like, they're not for young kids, they're for teenagers and young adults. That's when there was the shift, I think.
Yeah, but there was quite a few like edutainment games that ran for quite some time, and I think the 90s was definitely the time where I think the most innovation was going on, because like there were people branching out into all kinds of things. So you had a lot of like edutainment games, because
absolutely.
I would anybody who's looking for like a good collection of edutainment games that might run on modern PCs now, I would recommend the Collection Chamber. They have quite a few, and they have like most of the ones that I knew as a youngster, because I grew up with activity centers, which are basically like to boil down is basically you take a theme. Mine it was the Lion King for me, and then I got like a Toy Story 2 one a little later. And basically, it's a collection of like really harmless mini games all put together in this one package that you just throw the little kid in, they'll be fine, kind of thing. My one was a Lion King one where you could go to like different areas. There was the tree, where it was Rafiki's tree, where you got to like piss about with like it was like a draft, like a really simple drafts game, a little painting doohickey, and something else, I think. There was also the graveyard where you got to play. There was a maze game where you had to guide Simba out through a maze to avoid getting eaten by hyenas. A Simon Says game with Ed. He would like play on the xylophone, and you had to copy what he did. And then there was like a match 3. There it is on there, my childhood. And then there was also the jungle as well, where there was like Timon and Pumbaa doing things. That's the spelling game that's being shown right now. That was quite fun to learn how to spell.
I played that. Now I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cute ass game, and then there's a finding their friends kind of thing, and then matching bugs. But the one really cool thing about the activity center is there is the I don't know if you can find it on there, but there is the pool of visions where it basically shows you short clips from the movie, and that's how I know some scenes off by heart, because I watch those over and over and over again. It's very fun. Yeah, there it is. That last bit there. And you could choose from the 6. The first one was the Circle of Life. I think 2 is Pouncing Lesson. Can't remember what 3 and 4 were. 6 was definitely 6 was the bit in 6 was the ending bit where they call me Mr. Pig. That one. That is very funny. Yeah, I don't know if it works on the Scum one that the collection chamber has, unfortunately. But yeah, sorry, I'm getting off track because Elle just sent me down a rabbit hole. But also the other thing that I had were interactive storybooks, which were basically literally just like, this is a storybook about a film. For me, it was Pocahontas and The Lion King. Can you sense a pattern, maybe? And it was basically like boiled down for a kid, and you get like these scenes, and you could click on things, and they were like 3 mini games. For Pocahontas, they were like spaced out. There was an arrow game, a find where the fuck Miko is game, and there was also stop Miko from eating all the berries by stabbing him as Flick. Oh no, wait, you had to stop the berries, but I stabbed him because I'm a little shit. And then the Lion King games were front loaded at like the start of the game, and then once he became an adult, they were like, oh, we forgot. One was a very simple connect dots. The other one was a pouncing game, which didn't really work because all you had to do was just stop moving. You didn't have to. It had like 3 rocks on it that you were supposed to hide behind, but Zazu just couldn't see you if you were not moving. You didn't have to go behind the rock at all. And then the other one was basically Timon catching bugs. But there was literally no way you could fail that. You would have to be like asleep. But like. It's fun stuff, and like clicking on things and to make little animations and things happen. And also you could click on words and get Rafiki or whoever to explain what they were. So that was the kind of shit that I grew up with, and it was is a nice thing, and I miss that. I miss that kind of innocent vibe, you know?
This was mine. This is my activity center. The Batman Animated Series activity center. Because every franchise back then, or most of the popular ones, had one. Like Disney had Aladdin, they had all kinds of different activities in the games.
Disney had like Aladdin, two Lion
Hercules.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I remember the Lion
Tarzan.
King Activity Center I played wasn't the full one; it was a demo in PC format.
Oh wow.
Oh.
I do remember there was a Tarzan one. I remember I went round a friend's house and he was playing the Tarzan one.
Because I would spend ages trolling through PC format discs, hoping to find something that I could play for a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were the days.
Because now for my edutainment game of choice, showing how fucking boring my childhood was.
Oh no.
Has anybody ever heard of the Encarta Encyclopedia?
Yes.
Yes. That was my edutainment.
Yeah, Encarta. I had Encarta 1997 on my dad's second PC. His first was MS DOS. Second one was Windows 95. We had Encarta 97 on it, and in it was a game called Mind Maze. I'll just post an image.
This.
There's an image for you.
No need to post an image for it, Lemming. We have it right here.
Oh, thank goodness. But yes, so you had Encarta, and it was a big encyclopedia. They tried to get a deal with the Encyclopedia Britannica. That didn't happen, so they went with something else. And you had the Mind Maze, which was a quiz maze. You're inside of a giant castle, and every room you go through, they'll ask you questions. And if you got them wrong, or you failed, and if you got them right, you got to move to another room until eventually you get to the designated endpoint and win. I never did. I was dumb.
Oh. But you were
Despite the fact that, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just clicking and hoping for the best. But yeah, it was a quiz. And if I could go back to it now, I would probably try it again and see what I know now that I didn't know back then.
Oh, it's Lazy Game Reviews. Yes. My
There
man.
you go.
LGR, thank you very much. We appreciate, we give credit where credit is due.
We salute you.
We
But yeah,
salute
that was my edutainment back in the day.
No, I knew of Encarta, but I don't think my parents could afford it because I made noises about it, but they never got it for me.
I mean,
Pretty sure my dad just got copies from his work.
we couldn't afford it. I mean, I didn't have any legal games until like 2002. Maybe?
It's like our copies of Word, Publisher, Encarta, and most Microsoft Office things we had at the time, my dad just got from his work.
That's fair. Audience, for clarity, Bert is from Poland and was behind the Iron Curtain during all of this.
Yeah. Also, unfortunately, I was too old for the edutainment games and software. Because when you were talking about things like those Timon Pumbaa or Hercules 1000 games, I was already in my late teens, a bit late for those games. I don't remember Pat and such, but I also remember that I was back in the days of the early edutainment, especially the ones in Poland. I was really irritated by the fact that a lot of the edu in the edutainment was really shoved down people's throats, and the attainment part was really boring and uninspired. It felt all like it was based on some kind of public order. Well, we need some kind of game for the youngsters that will teach them this and that. And people who were working on that, they did not know how to do a proper entertainment or a proper education things. So altogether, it was just horrible. I don't have good experiences with edutainment, unfortunately.
Was it like in work training where you kind of have to like match the things up, and it's very
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So if you've ever had a work training like that, it was very much like it.
I know that.
For a slight tangent, although keeping on subject briefly, the first game project I ever made at university was an edutainment game.
Oh, really?
Well, the thing is because the reason they did that is because people, of course, joined the game design course with very distinct idea of what games are. And so this was effectively their way of filtering out people who were just there to make the hardcore stuff, without realizing that games could be a tool for entertainment. So yeah, the first project was to make an edutainment game.
Sweet.
So yeah, that's
Pretty cool.
my experience of that. Because yeah, games can be a method. Although yes, you are right, Burr, in that sometimes it's very hard to balance the edutainment system side of things because they need to learn, but then they need to be entertained, and learning is very rarely entertaining. And it's a very weird balance.
Which is why they really did it well in Humongous Entertainment, which was basically made by people who already knew how to make entertaining games. And they just shifted towards games more for children and more with educative aspects to them.
Yeah.
That's why it worked very well.
Yeah, and there's a way that, especially some of the older games like Spy Fox and Pajama Sam, like Spy Fox is for older kids than Pajama Sam was, but there's a way that the games approach children which doesn't treat them as stupid, kind of thing. Like playing Pajama Sam again as an adult, you could definitely see it's for children. Like it's very obvious, but the way it approaches them is also quite respectful, kind of thing. Like
they have very
for a child, but you know, it's not treating the child as like something that cannot exist.
They have very Sesame Streety vibes.
Yes.
Allow me to kind of throw a curveball out towards my fellow co-hosts. Is this an edutainment game?
What you got?
Dr. Kawashima's brain training.
No, it was an existential horror game.
I mean, it can be two things at once.
I don't think it's edutainment, but it's certainly in that kind of genre of... It's interesting. It's interesting. I wouldn't call it edutainment because it's not really teaching you anything, but it is working in the same area, if you know what I mean. It's like fitness games kind of thing. Like it's something very particular. Sorry.
That's fair. No, I think that's a fair comment to make. I was just kind of curious where people felt that fall down. I mean, we've talked about edutainment. What about games that are not designed for entertainment that have taught you things?
I will go off on a rant about RuneScape, but first I have to. I'll let my other co-host go first, because otherwise we will be here for the rest of the night.
Sure. So I definitely. I mean, Burr, you've played Assassin's Creed. I have played the. I can't remember what the mode is on Assassin's Creed Origins where you can explore
Discovery Tour. Yeah, I was about to mention that.
Go on, please go on.
And I love the fact that I hope they're gonna make that for Shadows as well. But like about a year after the release or so, they released this mode for starting from Origins for the Assassin's Creed games. That's called Discovery Tour, where you have a curated journeys around the maps of actual locations represented in the game, with points that will tell you something about that particular element, that particular part of history. They really well showed like the pyramids, the journey down the Nile, or places like Memphis, and in Odyssey, they were showing the Acropolis. They were showing the temples in the Cyrenaica region. I don't know about what they're showing in Valhalla because I skipped that one because Odyssey absolutely.
They're showing you where I came from, because no kidding. Literally, Valhalla is set in my area of the UK. So,
because I was thinking that I don't know how far they're going. I was thinking that maybe they are showing Lindisfarne and places where there were Viking raids, the whole Danelaw area with how it looked like, the story where Alfred burned them cakes and such. So I really loved in both Origins and Odyssey. I love the Discovery Tour, and it's absolutely brilliant that Ubisoft decided to do it and continue. And I'm hoping they will go above and beyond for Shadows as well.
And the reason it took a year to design Gamers is because they actually decided to be historically accurate with that, because that was the point of that.
Yeah, I mean, they are doing a lot of interesting things. Like they are doing. There was a part that was a bit contested, where in Odyssey there was a school shown, a lyceum, if you will, where both boys and girls were learning, and which is not what happened in ancient Greece. Girls were not allowed to learn things. So that was a bit anachronistic. But they did do a disclaimer like, we are showing here in the tone of the press of the current sensibilities. We're showing boys and girls. However, that was not the case in ancient Greece.
Which again, they're at least acknowledging that and saying this is how it would have been, which is fair.
Yeah.
Beep 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 beep.
Somebody beep.
Turning my fan on.
Okay.
Too hot.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, quickly kind of switching gears. I wouldn't say I can fly a plane, but I have had plenty of experience in Microsoft Flight Simulator over the years.
Yeah.
I'd probably in a emergency scenario be able to take the controls. That's about as far.
You could probably take the controls of a Cessna.
Of a Cessna, yes.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
I would want to touch a Boeing. No, thank you. No, thank you. I've done some flying in a Boeing. There's too many switches to remember. They're not all labeled. I can acknowledge that I'd be able to move the stick. That's about it.
You mean
it's also about that in a Boeing.
Actually, yeah,
it's the control yoke. The flight stick is in the Airbus. I think you're fine.
Oh, shove it up your tailpipe.
In jumbles like that, every engine has multiple controls.
Yes, that is true as well.
Oh god, planes are complicated. There's a reason why.
They are.
There's a reason why that not just anyone can fly them, and that someone doing it takes years of training and aren't just chosen for certain parameters. People,
but also. The flight simulators, like Microsoft Flight Simulator, they are educational because they tend to be very realistic. And a lot of people who are playing them are actual pilots who, after work, they still want to fly and they sit to the game and then they send angry letters to Microsoft like, those things are not where they're supposed to be in Boeing 737.
There is always someone somewhere whose job it is, who will find you and be like, you've done this wrong because...
My cousin...
Still not as bad as the War Thunder forum.
Yeah. No, I mean, days since the last War Thunder military secrets leak.
Yeah, they're like, do you play War Thunder? Stop.
So my cousin, he's about 5 years older than I am. I think he's 5 years, 6 years. He is older than I am. He's my oldest cousin. He for many years would play Microsoft Flight Simulator a lot. I mean, talking like a lot. But he had a full test of everything. He is now an actual pilot who works in.
Nice.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah, he's always wanted to do that. So. When I say he doesn't fly a Cessna, he's a proper airline pilot. You know, he knows his shit. And I will say is that speaking of someone who's played all the Microsoft Flight Simulators from 98 onwards, it has a very impressive. The older ones, I'm not sure about the more later ones. I've got a very impressive library behind them of teaching you methods and this is how the aerodynamics of a plane works. This is how this plane operates. Here's a lesson to teach you how to actually do a 3-point landing with a plane. Here's why it's different from taking up on this plane and so on and so forth. And that's actually I remember in one, I think it was Century of Flight. They actually had an actual instructor company, which was a husband and a wife ran the company. They made these videos for the instructional part of the game, which would have this, and it was very fascinating to kind of watch for all of them. Yeah, so these games, I'd say that they are a form, they're not kids' entertainment, but they are a form of edutainment in a way.
Yeah, I will also
and I'm
say,
just looking at
Rami Ishmael, the guy who created Lambert and several other games, he also loves Microsoft Simulator and does fly a Cessna himself.
Nice.
If you follow him on Blue Sky, he does talk about it as well, and also about Palestine a lot.
Really?
I'm just sitting here just like
Egyptian.
Also, speaking of Microsoft Flight Simulator, a thought just occurred to me that normally would not be considered an education game, but actually might be.
I mean, it's a full-on simulator. It's supposed to be a simulation.
Euro Truck Simulator.
Possibly,
is a simulator.
Yeah. If it simulates the internals of the vehicle correctly and very accurately, then yeah, I could say so.
Yeah.
I would probably think that Train Simulator is similar as well, because if I remember correctly, their reproductions of the cabs are quite accurate as well.
I mean,
I'm just sitting here just like, I never had Flight Simulator growing up. I didn't have any of these, but I did get first-hand experience of flying an aircraft. So,
well, there you go.
Oh, nice.
He has his beaters.
I didn't need the edutainment games on that one. I got first-hand shit.
I've never had a Flight Simulator either.
Naturally, we've been talking about the kind of edutainment side of things and such, but I think one thing we should also acknowledge is the fact that the games teach more than just what I would call knowledge in terms of like general knowledge. They teach you hand-eye coordination, critical thinking in some situations, although if so half the internet would believe maybe that was a failure. Your strategy as well. I think, to ignore the fact that games in a certain way teach you, I think, because you are going to learn from experiences, and I think all games teach you of something in a way, even if it's not like a knowledge. It will teach you a skill or an aspect, as it were.
Yeah, in the worst case scenario, it'll teach you how to play that particular game.
True.
Yeah, and BioShock is an example of something that I never expected to, but taught me to read between the fucking lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, when I was learning to drive, my instructor noted that, and he had to tell me this. It also might be because I wear glasses, and so my vision is not as wide as yours. But I was so used to playing video games, and like everything that you need is on the screen, like the HUD and everything. I used to just face like. When I was driving, I would just face like straight ahead, and he didn't think that I could see things like coming from. I would check my mirrors as you're supposed to, but he sometimes would think if my vision was faced forward, I couldn't see things coming, but I could see them out of my peripheral vision, and it was because I was so used to video games having like the HUD around the screen and my peripheral vision constantly being used to like check health, ammo counters, like all sorts of things like that, like the little minimap at the bottom and stuff like that. I was so used to gaining information from my peripheral vision that my eyes sometimes don't have to move to get information. Like I would be driving straight and I could see a car approaching from my peripheral, and I was like, that I had that in mind, kind of thing. But because I hadn't like looked hadn't turned my head to look like normal, he thought I didn't know that it was coming when I was fully aware, and he would point it out, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I can see the car, kind of thing. So he had to actually teach me, when you're in the car being examined, you have to turn your head because the examiner is not going to be used to you, knowing
your
stuff
peripheral abilities.
Yeah, and also. I have other things. I want to briefly go back to the book learning kind of thing, because I owe RuneScape teaching me how to make bronze, because one of the skills in RuneScape is smithing, and in order to smith the metals, you have to put things together. So, but in order to smith bronze, you need to put copper and tin together, like you do in real life. So that's how I learned that makes bronze, and to make steel is basically purified iron, basically, like lots and lots of coal. Also, I learned a lot about history from, especially like ancient history, from Age of Empires and Civilization, for like, because I must admit, I'll see like natural wonders on Civ 6 and I'll go, I've never heard of that. What is that? I go into the Civipedia and then just get information about like places I've never seen before, and it's a wonderful thing. And I love how I've learned a lot of history from Age of Empires, because Age of Empires was literally supposed to be Civilization, but an RTS game. I love that. But also, tangent around right all the way back again. I will also say, if it hadn't been for video games, I would not have developed the social skills that I have developed, kind of thing, because I've always been a bit of a lonely child, kind of thing, more focused in video games than other people, because other people tended to be a bit of a dick to me. But finding the group that I had, like, if it hadn't been for video games, I wouldn't have found my friends, for one. And then being with them, and sort of, when you're with people playing a multiplayer game together, you learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about how to negotiate social situations, how to diffuse conflict and stuff like that. Because, like, I know, like, to go to squadrons where we like forge bonds in fire, kind of thing. Like, one thing I found very interesting from the start is like, Elle and I were co-leaders of the squadron, kind of thing. I bore its name, but Elle was the de facto leader because that's just who he is, kind of thing, and I trust him more with like leadership roles. But we never fought about it. There was never a moment where we were like trying to one up each other or anything like that. In fact, we got upset with each other. Well, not with each other, but we got upset at ourselves because we weren't doing as well as each other, kind of thing. And a lot of I think a lot of like learning to be with people and negotiating, like people being upset at themselves, you learn through multiplayer games, sort of thing. If you're a good player, if you're a shit player, you learn that you're just a bastard and nobody likes you. But that's what I mean, is like, the thing about video games is also like,
no,
really,
be kind to yourself, Lemming.
Oh, be nice. Yeah, be nice, Lemming. You are not anything like that. You just get bullied by RNG. What was I saying? But yeah, no. Like, you do learn a lot of like important skills in video games. Definitely the hand-to-eye coordination, stuff like that. Stuff about learning to read things in your peripheral vision and stuff like that. Being able to plan ahead and strategy and stuff like that. But if you do multiplayer games as well, you learn the social skills. You learn how to communicate with people. Like, I would not be a manager. I would not be a manager in my work. I have no desire to have any power over anybody. I just want to fucking like come in, do my job, and leave. I don't care what my manager says. Leave me alone. I just want to do my work. But
Lemming, why haven't you applied to be a manager by now? You do a great job. I see how much extra work they have to do. Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. But I have taken the leadership role in video games before, like as a squadron leader, and then occasionally as somebody who has a plan in the middle of like shit, and I could be like, right, let's do this, this, and this, and get people to follow me, kind of thing. And it teaches that leadership skill as well. And yeah, if it hadn't been for video games, I wouldn't have found my people, kind of thing. And yeah, yeah. That's it.
No, that's really good. And funny, it made me think about how like things like The Sims teaches you about how people interact. Sure, in a very cartoony way, but how people interact and the way the system works, like how work works, how life works, and Spore teaches you like the progression of life and things like that. Very kind of abstractly. But yeah, it's made me think of all these different ways.
Yeah, and I completely forgot. I learned how to, this is very silly, but like I learned self-confidence through playing Mass Effect kind of thing because this is I've had this conversation before and I'll try and keep it as short as possible, but a lot of people when they write female characters in story-driven games like that think the best thing, like the most empowering thing, is to have like people go, wow, a woman in a place of power, whoa, kind of thing. And it's not, because all it does is highlight the gulf between men and women, and it puts you on the spot kind of thing. The most empowering thing is to just have the characters treat you with the respect they would give to a male character, and that's what happens in Mass Effect. Like a femshep is treated pretty much the same as a guy, with the same amount of deference and respect, and like you've got a couple of people just going, nah, what would a woman do, nah, but you can just like punch them in the face or something. It's very few and far between.
Always punch them in the face, by the way.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a joke that this is literally what Knuckles said in that one Sonic episode. Like, why do we enforce the gender roles by showing how unusual that situation might be?
Yeah, exactly. And it was playing that game and being in Shepard's skin kind of thing that gave that. It's gonna sound so stupid, and I'm probably when this goes on to YouTube, there's gonna be somebody in the comments just being like, "Haha, you loser!" And I was a bit of a loser when I was small, but like,
person writes that comment, fuck you.
Yeah, but like, it really.
We're gonna find you.
It really helped as like the person I was, just being like, damn, yeah, I can be femshep. This can be me, kind of thing. And I really needed that as like a young person just entering university,
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Point of note: it's been mentioned. I have to make the quote.
What?
Just because I'm a meathead doesn't mean I'm not a feminist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dr. Eggman is a feminist. Write that down.
on another spectrum, I very much liked being your kind of Confucius as you were trying to master the art of fighting games a few months back, Shadow.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm still really shit at it. I haven't touched the game ever since you started teaching me, but like...
Yeah, but also fighting games kind of teach you to try to anticipate what the opponent's going to do based on what you know, the character they chose.
I'm shit at that, but I say I'm shit at it, but I do remember that one Smash Bros game where I was like, I don't know what I was on. I must have been mainlining some fucking like really good shit, but I was managing to air dodge and like sidestep, and I beat the shit out of Cat in the end of it. I won that round.
That was your first 30 minutes in Marvel vs. Capcom, so you weren't supposed to yet be on the Evo level.
I don't think I ever will be.
Well,
it's I don't know. I play. There's a part of me that doesn't know if fighting games are for her. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to wrap this up by giving one final example. Among Us taught me how to be a deceptive little shit.
Oh my god! I did want to mention one more game.
Go on.
Because one thing, shout out to, like Shadow said, all the games that teach you history through playing. Because Assassin's Creed not only teaches you through the Discovery Tour, but there's a lot of historical events that take place or historical settings that you later want to find out. In all the, like Europa Universalis or Crusader Kings or Total War games, they have a lot of real life events happening, and that also shows you, this is how it was working back then. But the thing, I'm recently binging a lot of people playing GeoGuessr professionally, which is also a game, and it's really fascinating to look how they look at the
architecture
street view for like a couple of seconds, not even architecture, but they're like in the middle of nowhere and like, this foliage, it looks like East Asia, but this this road here, it's not tarmac, it's concrete, so it must be Thailand. And this kind of bollards by the side and this color of signs means that it's I think it's the south of Thailand, the tail at the bottom, and they're like then 5 kilometers away from the actual point, or like literally on the point, because they were like, yeah, the angle of the road suggests that it should be bending here, so I guess it's here, and they nail it, and it's fascinating to watch.
I will also say Dale Dawson teaches you how to like get away with not doing any work.
Yes.
If only I could do that in my real job. And realistically, can I also thank Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 for teaching me that you don't have to go all out all the time.
Yes.
Those games will punish you if you try and go fast constantly. And that's a lesson to learn.
You gotta go fast with moderation.
Yes. Like drugs.
Maybe.
But like you can do the drug, but like don't do all of the drug. All of the drug is bad for you.
Responsible people.
Yeah, please be responsible. This includes alcohol. This especially includes alcohol.
However, if you are getting prescribed certain drugs, do them all, because otherwise it might be.
Yeah, do the drugs you're prescribed, but don't do all of them at once. Do them like.
Follow your doctor's instructions.
Do them responsibly.
Yeah, please do that. Do not mainline all of the drugs. Do not take the drug and go, this doesn't feel like it's doing anything, and then take the second drug.
And
see dragons.
Most importantly, do not eat the moss.
Yeah. I want to eat the moss.
Hello, Surfer.
Do not eat the moss, my final message.
You're just hitting us as we're ending.
You're just hitting us as we're ending, because that's going to be it from us talking about entertainment. We had quite a good show, talking about what we've been playing, the news, not eating moss, and entertainment games. See, someone's eating moss. See, and now you're radioactive, and now you're gonna die from being a ghoul.
I'm gonna eat you first, though.
That's it from our show. My name's been Ian Back, and I've been joined by Burr. I've been joined by Lemming, and I've been joined by Shadow. My name's been Ian Back, and we'll see you next time. And we'll send you. I'll see if I can find something to read into in 1, 2, and 5.
What?
3.
I'm sorry, that one. She's